A very warm welcome to all of you, my dear students. Welcome back to your favorite YouTube channel, Let's Learn Together. And this is Shafiq Ahmed over here. So, this is the fifth tutorial of this particular series of the chapter, The Rise of Nationalism in Europe. And our new topic is what? Conservatism. And that is a very new word for you all, my dear students. So, I will explain you in detail what do you mean by this conservatism. Don't worry. Let us first clear that we have also seen one of the video tutorial regarding the Battle of Waterloo. So what really happened in the Battle of Waterloo, that we have also seen that Napoleon Bonaparte was defeated by the combined forces of these four countries: Britain, Russia, Prussia, and Austria. They all collectively fought against Napoleon Bonaparte, that is against France, to defeat him. Because there was one reason, big reason, that Napoleon Bonaparte was maintaining a huge army. He was having a huge number of soldiers. So to defeat him was not an easy task. So these four countries together make an alliance, and then they attack Napoleon Bonaparte to defeat him. And actually, he was also defeated at the Battle of Waterloo on 18th June 1815, and that was the end of Napoleon Bonaparte rule in France. That we have also seen in one of the video in our previous class. If you are interested, once again, you can go to the previous tutorial and watch that video, and it was explained very nicely how Napoleon Bonaparte was defeated. But you will have to remember the date on which date the Battle of Waterloo was ended, that on 18 June 1815. And name, you will have to remember the name of the countries also, that who all defeated Napoleon Bonaparte. That's Britain, Russia, Prussia, and Austria. Now we will have to see what happened in France after the defeat of Napoleon Bonaparte. What happened there, and what was the real scenario after Napoleon Bonaparte? Let us see. Following the defeat of Napoleon in 1815, you can see over here, European governments were driven by a spirit of conservatism. That is after the year of 18. So European governments were driven by a spirit of conservatism. So these were the people who were having this type of thinking, the thinking of the conservatism. And let us see what was the thinking or the belief of these people. It is a political philosophy, you can say. It is a political philosophy that is stressed on the importance of tradition. Means these are the people or the believers who give a lot of importance to the tradition, means the things that they are following from years back. Means, and we know in France the things which were being followed from years back was the monarchy system. So these people, the people who believe about the conservatism, they believed on the importance of the tradition, and they established institutions as well as customs, means rituals or the festivals or the things which were followed from earlier. They established institution like that, previous one. And what they preferred regular development, that is gradual development, to a quick change. Means they did not believe that quick change is possible. They preferred what? That development should go on, but it should go on regular basis, not in a quick method. So these people were believing on the importance of what? Tradition established, and they established institution as well as customs all the years that they were being followed, and previously that they were following from the years back. They believed, and that is most important what they were believing. Number one, they believed that the monarchy, the church, and the social hierarchies. Here are social hierarchy means upper class, lower class, means division of people according to the class, upper class people, lower class people. And they also believe that property and the family should be preserved. Means they wanted to get all these things back in France. Number one, the monarchy, they wanted that monarchy, there should be a king in France. They thought that the church should be there, and all those privileges that were given to the church people should be there. And they also believe that the social hierarchies like upper class and lower class should be present in the society, they were thinking. And even they were thinking to preserve property as well as the family relation also. So these people were really based on the family plannings, on their families, and they wanted to protect and preserve their families, even their property, and they wanted the monarchy, church, and the social hierarchies back in France. So they were the believers, you can say, of the monarchy system. They decided, these people, the conservatives, they decided that they are not going to tolerate criticism as well as disagreement. If people will say against anything against them, anything against them, then they will be punished, they will be not tolerated. And they should also do the people should also not disagree with their rules and regulations or their constitution, whatever they will prevent start in France afterwards. Everyone should agree with that. Means if someone will say in that country, if the monarch is saying that during the day that it is night, then everyone will have to say that it is really night. If there will be a law that everyone should wake up in the morning at 5 o'clock, then everyone in the country should wake up at 5 o'clock. That is the meaning I want to say. According to the disagreement, means no one should disagree with the government, because they are not going to tolerate, वो बर्दाश्त नहीं करेंगे, ना तो criticism को और ना ही तो disagreement को. So these people are really very tight, है ना? They are really very harsh. You can see over here that if someone will criticize, or if someone will go against their will, then they will be punished. Conservative government set up in 1815 were autocratic also, means they were oppressive. Means if you will raise your voice, then your mouth will be shut down, shut up forever and ever. They are really oppressive. अगर आप उनके खिलाफ बोलेंगे तो आपको दबा दिया जाएगा, आपको बंद कर दिया जाएगा, you will be sent behind the bars. So this government is very, you can say, dictatorship type of government. They are the people who believe on dictatorship, who believe on monarchy system, and they are not going to tolerate anything against them. They wanted to put an end to the activities that question the authority of the autocratic governments. Means they don't want that anyone should put any question, or no one should ask any question from the government regarding the rules and regulations, or whatever the rules they will frame for the country, or the act that they will start or they will implement. No one should ask any type of question from the authority or from this autocratic government. Autocratic means oppressive, or you can say dictatorship type of government. So no one is going to ask any question. They wanted to put an end of to all those activities. And you can see my friends over here again, one you can see that they brought back censorship. Means now if someone will try to publish, or you can release any type of newspaper, books, plays, or song, then they will have to first of all get the approval of the conservative government. Only then they can print their ideas or express their views. That is the meaning of censorship. Means whatever if you want to express your views in the newspaper or the books or the plays, or through with the help of books or with the help of plays or songs, then you will have to first of all get the approval. Means you can say that media was under the control of the government. This particular conservative government brought the censorship back in France, or you can say in Europe, throughout Europe. Let us see what happened next. There is a note for you, my dear students. The followers of conservatism were known as conservatives. Means don't get confused. Conservatives, if I will say conservatives, it means the follower of the conservatism idea, the follower of the idea of conservatism. And my dear student, we have seen that what are the ideas of the conservatism. They believe on what? Monarchy. They believe on church or social hierarchies. So these are the ideas of the conservative people. So we will see. Let us see what happened next in Europe. Now, what are the thinking of the most of the conservative people? Means there were few people who are really strict according in their ideas, in the belief of the monarchy system. But there were most of the conservatives, they were thinking something different. That we will have to see also. Let us see. Most conservative people, they didn't propose a return to the society of pre-revolutionary days. Means these people, most of the conservative people, they don't want to bring those days of revolutionary days back once again. They did not believe on those days when there was Louis 16, no, Louis the 16 was there, and privileges system was there, different division was system of the society was there, that we have gone through in French Revolution. So most of the conservatives, they don't want to get all those days once again back. So they are in favor of, you can say, a democratic type of country. Most of the conservative people, but they fear of from the government. They realize, see, these most conservative people, they realize that modernization could in fact strengthen traditional institutions like the monarchy. They want modernization. They want that everything should be modernized. New technologies should be adopted. New weapons should be adopted. New methods of growth and development should be adopted. And they thought that only this modernization can help these traditional institutions like the monarchy to get stronger and stronger. Because they were believing on the monarchy system, but on the other hand, they also believe that modernization is really necessary, is the need of the time. They believed on modernization. Modernization, they were thinking that could make state power more effective and more stronger. They were thinking. And what do you mean by modernization over here? Let us see. They were thinking about a modern army. Modern army means what? Army lashed with modern equipments, modern weapons, modern technologies, and even revolutionary ideas, different new ideas. And they wanted all an efficient bureaucracy system. Means they want to appoint government officials by civil service, means by competitive examinations. And there should not be such that if a father has died and his son will become the king, or his son will become will take the office, will hold the office next on. So they want an efficient bureaucracy system. That means that they want civil service, they want competition among the people, and then they will select the officers or the government officials. And really, that is the real nice way to recruit a people, to hire a people who can really do something for the country, for the development of the country. And what they believe, that a dynamic enemy and economy should also be changed, right? The economy should not stop at a particular position. The economy of the country should also go higher and higher. And what they wanted, once on the other hand, also the abolition of feudalism. They don't want to collect dues, previous dues or those things that were really forced on the people, on the power, on the farmers. So they were against feudalism also. And even they were against the serfdom, that is labor without payment, that is forced labor. Serfdom means what? Forced labor. If you are forcing someone to do something for you, that means serfdom, that is slavery. So they were against feudalism, as well as they were against serfdom. You must have heard this word feudalism or feudal dues in French Revolution. So these people, this most of the conservative people, they were thinking to abolish feudalism as well as serfdom. And they wanted what? Modern army, efficient bureaucracy system, and a dynamic economy. They think that only these things can strengthen the autocratic monarchies of Europe. So these were the thinkings of the most of the people of Europe at that particular time after the defeat of Napoleon Bonaparte. Now let us see what happens next. Treaty of Vienna in the year 1815, that was signed up. And let us see what is this Treaty of Vienna. Treaty means what? A particular agreement that really used to sign at that particular time to end the war. So that is the Treaty of Vienna that was signed in the year 1815 after the defeat of Napoleon Bonaparte. Now, what was the treaty? What was the conditions in this agreement? Let us see. And why it is named as Treaty of Vienna? Because it was signed at a place known as Vienna. So that's why it is named as Treaty of Vienna in the year 1815. And this, what was the condition in this particular agreement? Let us see. In 1815, representatives of the European powers, means who all defeated Napoleon, Britain, Russia, Prussia, and Austria, they all met at a particular name of the place is what? Vienna. That is the capital of Austria. So they met at a place, or you can say they met at the capital of Austria. And for what reason they met? To draw up a settlement for Europe. Means they want to now divide, or you can say that they want to now share the profit after defeating the Napoleon Bonaparte. They want to set the future of Europe or you can say that they want to set the boundaries of Europe, or set the limitations or the rules and regulations for Europe. So that's why these Britain, Russia, Prussia, and Austria, they all met together at a place known as Vienna, that is the capital of Austria. And now let us see what happened there. What happened there? The parliament, means the meeting, was hosted by the Austrian chancellor, that is known as Duke Metternich. Duke Metternich, remember his name? A lot of time I have seen in the board exam that they are asking MCQs or one word answer with this particular people, man known as Duke Metternich. Means they used to ask in the board exam also, who hosted the Treaty of Vienna, who hosted the parliament of the Treaty of Vienna. So you will have to answer, my dear students, Duke Metternich. That was the man who hosted, means who became the host to deal with all. Now, what was their object? Their object was to undo most of the changes that had come about in Europe during the Napoleonic Wars. It means they wanted to reverse back all the things that the Napoleon has done during his reign, during his time. They want to reverse back all the things. The main intention was to restore the monarchies. That is the reason why they have made there. They want to restore the monarchy system, because the kingdom, the kingship system, they want to get it back. That had been overthrown by Napoleon, because now Napoleon Bonaparte overthrown all the king. No, he has overthrown that monarchy system. He was ruling the country. So they want to restore the monarchies after the defeat of Napoleon. And what they created a new conservative order. You can see, that's really important. They created a new conservative order in Europe. And let us see what was that. Few conditions. Number one, that were finalized in the Treaty of Vienna. These are the few conditions that you will have to remember, my dear students. These this is very important topic from the point of view of board examination also. The Bourbon dynasty was restored. The Bourbon dynasty means the dynasty of Louis XVI, before Louis XVI and then after Louis XVII, Louis XVIII. So it was restored to power, and France lost all the territories that it had seized under Napoleon. As we know that Napoleon was very eager to conquer throughout the Europe. So he was defeating one state after one country after another country, one place after another. He was defeating and capturing. So what the conditions finalized in the treaty was that the Bourbon dynasty will be restored to power, and France will lose all the territories, all the area, all the places that they have captured under the Napoleon. So they will have to give up. France will have to give up all those, or France will have to release all those places free, which they have captured under Napoleon Bonaparte rule. That was the first condition. To restore Bourbon dynasty means to restore monarchy system, and France will have to give up all those areas which they have captured under Napoleon. Point number two, a series of states were set up on the boundaries of France to prevent French expansion in future. Means they set up the boundaries of France, that now onwards France will not move away or will not try to expand their territories in the future also. So they set up the boundaries for the France, that from here to that particular place, these are the boundaries of France only, and otherwise if they will try to cross, they will be facing they will be under trouble. So they set up series of states. Means on the north they set up that this particular state will be your last boundary, and the south and the east and the west, on all the directions they set up the boundaries for France, that this is your area, that is the area for France. Third point, as because Prussia was also involved in the Battle of Waterloo, we have seen that 4 countries were there. Now Prussia, as a reward, he wanted to get something as a reward also. So Prussia, as a share, you can say Prussia was given important new territories on its western frontiers. That is a portion of Saxony, a state in eastern Germany. Means Prussia was given a portion, means a part of the one. So, my dear students, we have seen that Prussia was given one very important new territory, and that was on the western frontiers, that part of the Saxony, and that was a state in eastern Germany. So the whole Europe now was under their control, under these four countries. So now they have tried to set up who will take what as a reward. So Prussia was given a part of Saxony in the state, a state in Eastern Germany. Means Germany, a state from Germany was given to Saxony, but not the full state, only a portion of that particular state. And what was the name of the state, my dear students? Saxony. Remember, Prussia got part of Saxony. Remember like this: Prussia got portion of Saxony. Next, let us see what who gets what. Now it is the now it is the time of Austria. Austria was given control of northern part of Italy, means northern Italy was given to Austria as a reward. So Prussia got its reward, Austria also got its reward, that Austria got northern Italy. Try to remember, my dear students, who got what. In the east, Russia was given part of Poland. So Russia was also involved in the Battle of Waterloo against Napoleon. So Russia was also given an award, and that award for him was that he was given a part of Poland, not whole Poland, but Russia was also given something that is part of Poland. So try to remember, my dear students. But the German Confederation, that is the association of 39 states, what was there in the time of Napoleon, and we remember also he reduced to two currencies, and we reduced to only two currencies, as well as he reduced to he had been set up by Napoleon, that was set up by Napoleon, it was untouched. Since the Confederation or the association of 39 states were not touched by this union, by this Treaty of Vienna people. And you can see, my dear students, that the Kingdom of Netherlands, which included Belgium, was set up in the north, and Genoa, that is an Italian city, was added to Piedmont, a region in the northwest Italy in the south. Means you can see now they are extending the boundaries, and they extended the boundaries of Netherlands. The Kingdom of Netherlands, which included Belgium, was set up in the south of Europe, and Geneva also, an Italian city, was set up in the south also of the northwest Italy also. So the Kingdom of Netherlands set up in the north, and Geneva was added to Piedmont. Piedmont was also a particular region in the northwest Italy, so they added Piedmont along that particular Geneva. So Geneva and Piedmont now working together in the south, and the Kingdom of Netherlands, which was including Belgium. You know, Belgium, we might have learned in the chapter power sharing also, power sharing. That is also there in our channel, power sharing chapter is also there as a tutorial you can go through. So the Kingdom of Netherlands over here, they included Belgium, and it was set up in the north. So they set up the boundaries in the north as well as in the south. In the north, there will be Kingdom of Netherlands, which will include Belgium, and in the south, Piedmont along with Geneva will be there in the south of Europe. So all these particular things, or you can see finalized conditions were finalized in the Treaty of Vienna. Now it's time for our next topic, and that topic is what? The revolutionaries. Now we will have to learn about the revolutionaries. Let us see. Our next topic is what? The revolutionaries. So now we have seen that they have set up, the conditions have been finalized in the Treaty of Vienna. But what about those people who are against this Treaty of Vienna? So the fear of the repression by the conservative government drove many liberal nationalist people. Now you must remember who are these liberal nationalist people, those who want freedom, and those who want to put an end to the monarchy system. So there are also the group of the people who want to set up liberal nationalists, but they were now quite feared up because of the conservative government. So they were underground, they were living, they were working, but they were not working from in front. They were not in front, they were not coming on the front, they were working from the back. They were also organizing and developing something to go against this particular conservative government. So they were also planning and doing. These people were living underground because of the fear of those conservative government. The memory of the French Revolution nonetheless continue to inspire rebels. Means you can see these particular French revolutionaries memories, the stories of the revolutionaries people of the France who got rid of the Louis XVI and his emperor. So this particular thing was just inspiring this liberal nationalist people. So what they have done, they set up secret societies. Secret means not coming in front, you know, secret, chupe huए societies. They set up many secret societies in European states to train what? To train revolutionaries and spread their ideas of liberal nationalism. So these people, the leaders of the liberal nationalism, the leaders of the liberal nationalist people, they set up many societies to train people and to spread their ideas. And what were their ideas, my dear students? Number one, means you can see, or we can say also that the demand of the revolutionaries, what was the demand of the revolutionaries? Their demand was number one, freedom of the press. That was their first demand. Next was spread the idea of nationalism. They wanted to spread the idea of nationalism throughout Europe. That was the next motive of the secret societies set up, which was set up by the liberal nationalist people. They wanted to oppose, means go against the monarchy system also, and they wanted freedom, as well as they wanted to end this dictatorship type of rule, that is that despotism. They wanted to put an end to the despotism rule also. They also wanted to create nation state. Nation state is what? Where the people will share common culture, common language, common tradition, common customs, traditions, where people will live together. They wanted to create such nation state. Nation states are both states as well as country. So they wanted to create such nation state where the people would share common language, culture, tradition, and history. And if someone will ask you, my dear students, that what is the meaning of this revolutionary, you can say, and you can write, will have to write the meaning also. So meaning of becoming a revolutionary means what? If you people, if a person adopted that I will become a revolutionary, it what it means? I will become a revolutionary. Then it means what? That that person is committing to oppose monarchical forms that had been established after the Vienna Congress. That is the Treaty of Vienna. That is another name, my student. The another name of Treaty of Vienna is what? Vienna Congress. So the monarchical form that was established after this Treaty of Vienna, the person who will become a revolutionary will have to commit, will have to take an oath, you can say, to oppose these monarchical forms of government, to oppose monarchy system. They will have to take an oath, they will have to commit then only a particular man will become a or known as a revolutionary man. See, if that it should be clear to you, my dear students, that if you want to become a revolutionary man, then you will have to commit that you are against this monarchical form of government that was set up after the Treaty of Vienna. And next was is what? Meaning of becoming a revolutionary means if you want to become a revolutionary, then you will have to fight for what? Liberty. You will have to fight for freedom. Means until your life is there, until and unless you are alive, you will have to fight for liberty and freedom. Then only it will mean that you have become a revolutionary. So if you want to become, then you will have to first set up your mind that you are going to oppose the monarchy system and you will only fight for the liberty as well as freedom. More in our next class, my dear students, we will continue in our next tutorial. If you are new to the channel, then please subscribe the channel and press the bell icon also so that you can get information of the new release of the videos. And please do not forget to share with your friends. Do not forget to comment also, and stay here at home and stay safe. Thanks all to all of you, my dear students. Bye bye. Take care.